I'm definitely no stranger to getting canceled. I was canceled on several different platforms. There was this incident where London Real had David Icke on his platform and he did a live stream, and that was one of the most popular live streams on all of YouTube, and it was banned from YouTube. And there's actually an effort right now to basically cancel or deplatform Brian Rose or London Real. I'm not trying to defend David Icke and his viewpoint. He's a little bit loony. I think he's a sensationalist, and some of it they're doing for their own ego and to get ratings and things like that. So, you know, there's a kernel of truth in a lot of things that they say, though, which is what actually makes them so popular. When they make all these predictions and they throw all these things at the wall and some of them stick, it makes it seem like they know what they're talking about. Here's a Wikipedia quote that talks about him, and I think this is pretty accurate. It says, Icke believes that the universe is made up of, quote, vibrational energy and consists of an infinite number of dimensions that share the same space. So far, that's okay. I can see that's true. He advocates the existence of an interdimensional race of reptilian beings called the Archons or Anunnaki, who have hijacked the Earth, and that a genetically modified human Archon hybrid race of shape-shifting reptilians known as the Babylonian Brotherhood, the Illuminati, or the, quote, elite, manipulate global events to keep humans in constant fear so the Archons can feed off the negative energy this creates. Kind of interesting, all right? You can see why this is appealing, though. You're kind of like, is this a Stephen King book? Is this it? Alexa, stop. I would read, if I were you, just so you have some context, I would read 1984. I would read Fahrenheit 451. And then A Brave New World. That's the one I was thinking of. A Brave New World. I would read those books. This is the problem here. COVID-19, all right, with 5G. All right, now I'm really in trouble because I just used those two words in the same video. So this is, you know, if you even see this video, that'll be amazing. That's the problem. So what they're saying is okay, well, the issue is that because he has this huge platform and he's interviewing David Icke, and people are really actually destroying 5G towers and someone could get hurt and it's destruction of property, and so he's inciting these things. I watched the live stream with David Icke in there, and there was no call to arms, no telling people to destroy 5G towers. Now, he was making some very conspiratorial claims that COVID-19 is fake and that 5G towers 5G is actually the culprit, and there's some crazy shit going on. I'm not really big into conspiracy theories, but there's obviously something going on here that's more than just the virus in this case. It's pretty clear throughout the world now that there's something going on. I don't know what it is, but there's something going on. So what? Okay, he's expressing this. Maybe there is a connection, but the fact that they're burying it so fucking hard really starts to make me wonder, makes me start to say, ooh, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. Why are they burying it so much? Whether he's correct or not, okay, and probably with all of the things that he's predicting, he's not. It doesn't matter, at least from my perspective, whether he's right or not, whether he's full of shit or not, whether he's just a crazy lunatic or not. The free speech is what's important. And I think that's what Brian Rose from London Real is really trying to indicate here, is that, hey, he's going to fight this battle. I like London Real. I'll tell you why. I like David or Brian Rose, and I'll tell you why. Because he just interviews everyone, and he lets them all have a platform and talk. He has Republicans, he has Democrats, he has people that you would consider to be woo-woo out there. He has prominent scientists. He has a lot of different variety of people, and you can make the judgment call, but they have a platform, and we're exposed to all these ideas. This is important. This is how you develop as a person and really grow your mind. And a lot of you guys make the argument, you say, well, these are independent platforms, John. You know, it's Facebook that he's got banned off of, or LinkedIn, or YouTube takes down the video. These are independent companies. You claim to be a capitalist, so why can't they do whatever they want? I agree 100% that a company should be able to do whatever it wants, aside from a couple of things. It's not true that governments can only censor. Individual companies can censor, and in these cases, these distribution platforms are acting as monopolies as far as the media. YouTube has the monopoly pretty much on videos online. And so there's some kind of duty at that point to obey free speech type of laws when you are a monopoly, at least. And again, we're not talking about laws. We're not talking about what is legally correct. We're talking about what is right from a virtue standpoint. What is right for society? What is correct, philosophically correct? So from a legal stance, can these companies do whatever they want? It's still questionable. It's still questionable. Why? Because what just happened now, okay? Is it really a private company if when you can't make your payments, the government comes and bails you out and dumps a truckload of cash on you? Like the airlines, like a bunch of businesses in the U.S., big businesses that have been bailed out, like banks, like all these. So are they really private companies at this point if they're artificially propped up by the government? I would say that they're not necessarily private companies. I was just some dude on Twitter, right? And I got canceled on Twitter, and then all of these companies started deplatforming me. Okay, I got deplatformed from a bunch of different companies, got my book unpublished, got my courses pulled. Okay, so that's censorship. Okay, that is happening not at the government level. It's still something that is wrong. And again, like I said, we're not talking from a legalistic perspective. Sure, they can. They have the right to do whatever they want as an independent company, but we're talking about from a standard of, is this right or wrong? Should we, as human beings, support this? Should we support the companies that do these things? And where should we stand as a society? Should we say, oh yeah, this is okay, this is fine? Or should we say, no, fuck this. We don't want people to be censored. We want to hear things that offend us. If you're not familiar with Fahrenheit 451, it's about a dystopian future, right, where firefighters are now they start fires and they burn books. That's what they do. They burn books because books are banned, basically. All kinds of actual, books. Now, the reason why, in the book, it goes into the reason why, right? And a lot of people think it's government control. It's not. It's the people. The people wanted it. And it's kind of interesting because he talks about this idea that like, oh, well, you write this kind of book and then it offends this group of minority people. And then this one offends this kind of group. And so they'd rather just have that book not available and that book not available. So let's just burn all the books so that no one's offended. Don't do offensive shit. The censorship comes from the people. And once you get it into society, it's hard to remove it. They can't remove it. It's truly scary right now how quickly we've given up our civil liberties. With everything going on with the COVID-19, again, you can debate me on whether or not the response is correct or whatnot. There's a difference between asking me to maintain social distancing and making that a guideline versus requiring it, right? Besides telling me to do it, telling me I have to stay in my house, telling me I have to shut down my business. I have no problem with, the deferring to the experts, even if I disagree with it, and saying, okay, fine, I'll do it. I've been practicing it, right? I'm staying home. All I'm doing is running. That's it. I'm not even going to the store. I'm just shopping online. All right. So I am doing it. But I have a problem with our civil liberties being trampled on, okay? You shouldn't be forced to. If you don't want to do it, we can't make everyone comply. Trying to make people comply, even if it's for the greater good. See, the utilitarian approach is what really is the argument for all of these wrongs in the world. Utilitarianism is a failed philosophy. It does not work, okay? I'll give you a quick example of utilitarianism and why it doesn't work. Okay, let's suppose that there's 1 million people that have this disease that is going to kill them and they're going to die unless there's this one magical girl. She happens to be a 6-year-old girl, perfectly innocent, never done a bad thing in her life, whatever, innocent girl, okay? Let's say that. And within her heart, okay, there is the secret to saving these 1 million people, the cure to this disease. The trick is this. In order to get this cure, she has to be alive. And unfortunately, if you give her an anesthetic, it will destroy this biology, this thing that's inside her in her heart that will cure the world. In fact, the only way that which you can get this cure is that you must dissect her while she's fully conscious and not sedated and not under general anesthesia. She'll be in extreme pain, excruciating pain. She'll basically be just cut open, alive, and she will die. But when you pull this from her chest, you will save 1 million people. The utilitarianism philosophy, that approach, says the greater good. It says obvious answer is to kill and torture this young, innocent girl. Okay? That is what is wrong with the utilitarian approach as an ethics problem in philosophy. It does not work. To make someone else sacrifice for the greater good is not a choice that we can make and force upon a person as a society. And we shouldn't be able to, and we don't want to live in a society like that. That's what happens here. When you say that we're going to censor this, that we're going to take off this London Real interview with David Icke for the greater good, because we don't want people to get hurt blowing up 5G towers, okay? And because it's not good. If we're going to do that, then we're going to always make those choices that benefit the most people, that produce the greater good, and we're going to use that as an excuse, and we're going to get to a point where the ends justify the means, and the ends do not justify the means. They never justify the means. It's something that's really, really important. During the Revolutionary War, okay, in the US, the Revolutionary War, they were fighting smallpox, and smallpox kills 1 in 3, so it has a 33% death rate. In fact, more soldiers were dying from smallpox than from actual war battle, but they were still fighting. They were fighting for freedom, for their freedom. Okay, with the deadly disease that kills 33% of people who get it, and in a very nasty way. I don't know if you've ever seen smallpox. Go look it up on the internet. You're not going to like that shit. I get it. I understand. I don't want innocent people to die. I'm not like that. And I'm here, doing what I can. I'm not advising. But what I'm saying is that when our civil liberties are restricted by a government, it's oppression. And oppression is not a good thing. And we do not do things just because it's for the greater good. It's important that we promote free speech, whether we like what the person is saying or not. Whether we agree with them or not, whether we think that their message is destructive or racist or hateful or whatever. The idea of hate crimes and all of these things and hate speech is absolutely ridiculous. You cannot determine whether someone's speech is worthy of being deplatformed or being censored or someone should hear it. It's up to people to decide that. Do not give up your right, because when you take it away from someone else, you're giving it away, your own right, and you may need it someday and you may want it someday.